I'll just do a little introduction. What's going on? It's Soge Kami, your boy, talking about some egghead stuff with my boy David. Yo, David, tell him what's good.
Going on, guys? Happy
Yeah,
to be here.
yep. We're talking about One Piece. Basically, I I had the thought of kind of talking about the last couple of chapters. I think since One Piece came back, we only got two chapters, which were the Garp chapters after, Sabo had finished talking about, after we were introduced to Garling, we had two Garp chapters. Well, I guess the first one was the Garp chapter, the second one was like the Kobe chapter, right?
Yeah, and like the culmination of Garp's storyline too for these current events.
Yeah. So the first
But
the first thing I'd ask you is like, what do you think? Like, do you think Garp's kind of role in the story is done, or do you think that he has like more in the tank?
no, I don't think he's done. I mean, we can clearly see at the end of 1088, like the panel of Aokiji's expression. I think he's frozen up his tears on
Yeah,
his face, and like obviously he's doing the exact same thing to Garp that he did to Jaguar D Saul. So I don't think Garp is dead. I don't think he's out of commission. I just think he's going to be used as leverage against Luffy. Like Blackbeard's definitely going to use Garp in some way to kind of like trick Luffy or to do something to get further on into his plans. Blackbeard has just plans coming out like nothing. Like he just needs to get to his goal,
yeah,
and and I guess in his mind he's probably aware that Luffy is probably his biggest adversary other than Shanks
yeah,
for the One Piece.
yeah.
So, but yeah,
I,
I
I
don't think
actually
I don't
would
think
think
Garp is
that
done.
I would think that unless Blackbeard knows about like the Sun God, that type of
Yeah,
information, I would think that Blackbeard probably sees Shanks as his number one adversary. He
probably. Yeah.
probably underestimates Luffy a little bit. Like I probably would think that
hmm
he's more like concerned with Shanks than he is with Luffy.
Yeah, and like another thing about the Blackbeard Pirates is like we've always had discussions on like what would the one-on-one matchups be between the Blackbeard Pirates and Straw Hats, but I'm starting to think now that they would need to fight like all together, like all 10 of them need to like just work in as a unit to defeat Blackbeard because we've seen how the Blackbeard Pirates fight. We've seen like even especially in these recent chapters, we can that they don't care about each other. They don't operate in the exact same way as Luffy's crew does. They're just people who have one goal and they just work towards it.
Yeah,
And it's like their mindset is if anybody falls in the process of it, then we're just gonna move on.
yeah.
You
I,
know,
I
so
actually kind of I was that was actually one of my questions because
go
personally
ahead.
I've been feeling that like the idea that everyone gets a 1v1 kind of doesn't seem like it's gonna happen anymore. It feels like they're probably all gonna have like a big battle royale. Like it's gonna be
Yeah.
everyone fighting everyone at once.
Yeah, and honestly, like at this point, uh, I'm starting to think that like not even like just strength wise, hockey wise in general, but like Blackbeard devil fruits are all pretty broken in their own ways. Like especially like Avala Pizarro, like on any island he has the advantage. So uh
Depends how you
but
look at
also
it. I kind
I
of think
guess, yeah.
Avalo Pizarro had like I kind of feel like it's a disadvantage. He's just a big target.
Yeah.
Like if you had some like if let's say Luffy could just keep punching the island.
Yeah, he probably could. Yeah, he'd probably get away with that.
Yeah, because like Luffy has, I don't know. Let's say Luffy did his Kaido finishing attack.
Yeah.
That would destroy Valo.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I'm just like think aloud because like Shiryu, for example, like anyone who has amazing observation hockey on the crew, which is basically everyone except Usopp, will get a read on him. Like they'll know where he is, but they would have to worry about everyone else on the crew who doesn't have observation hockey, and they won't notice where Shiryu is coming from. So Shiryu would be a huge problem, like on top of Blackbeard and the rest of them who have like insanely good devil fruit.
Hmm.
But I don't know. What do you think about that? Like, what do you think about like just? Do you think the Straw Hats are gonna all learn hockey at some point to like do all this, like to be able
Well,
to be on par?
I don't think the I don't think it's fair to say that observation hockey cancels out Shiryu's devil fruit. Because, like, no, I don't think, like, I wouldn't even, I hear people always say online that what happened was Garp used observation hockey and he pushed Kobe out the way. But I would actually more argue it as to, like, this is an obvious trap, so I'm going to push Kobe out of the way. Because, but he wasn't even going for Kobe. That's not what Garp was saying. He was always going for Garp, and he caught Garp when he was focused on something else. So, like, I don't really think, I would think that if you had an invisibility fruit, but observation hockey automatically cancels out your fruit's ability, it kind of makes the fruit useless.
Yeah, I guess that's fair, yeah. Because people were complaining about Kobe in that moment, that, like, Kobe should have, like, really good observation, and he didn't notice that Shiryu was there. But I feel like observation hockey needs to be more, it has to be activated in a way, right? Like, to be used. And Al Kobe was probably using his hockey at that point. He was just focused on saving the civilians.
Yeah.
So that's why he didn't notice Kiryu. But I don't know. I feel like the Blackbeard Pirates just operate in a way where the Straw Hats need to work together because
they'll jump you.
Yeah, they're gonna jump them. Like it's gonna be like 4-on-1 in some cases probably.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like this Burgess can throw a mountain at somebody and like, you know, Zoro's gonna have to jump in and like fucking cut it in half just to like save them.
Something. And I could see us having like interesting interactions where, let's say, Katarina Devon pretends to be one of the Straw Hats, right? And then it'll be like a moment where it's just like, oh, do something that Usopp would do, or she pretends to be Usopp. She doesn't understand that Usopp always lies about things. So it's just like, you know, it'll just be an interesting moment where you have just different interactions with the crew. Like, I feel like that would be much more interesting than just, oh, this person gets a 1v1 fight, this person gets a 1v1 fight.
Yeah.
Or even if it's not like a 1v1 thing, it could be like 3 of the Blackbeard members versus 3 of the Straw Hat members, you know? Instead of it just being Zoro versus Shiryu in a 1v1, what if it's Zoro, Sanji, and Jinbei against Burgess, Lafitte, and Shiryu? You know, it's something like that instead. I think that would be more fitting as well, instead of just like these 1v1s that we always see. We can just see like a group fight. And that would also remind us more of like Alabasta and stuff, because when we got like Usopp and Chopper, you know, like those kind of fights, which are interesting. I would love to see, like, that was one thing that I really wish we got in Wano. Like, I thought it'd be so cool if we actually had Usopp and Nami versus, like, Page One and Alti, like, in an actual fight, instead of, like, that skipped fight versus what we got.
Yeah, I don't think that was ever going to happen. I feel like Oda is just sticking to what he knows when it comes to, like, the weaker members of the crew. They kind of just have to, like, survive, basically.
I don't know. I still have hope that there's gonna get back to those kind of fights where they outsmart their opponent to win, instead of just like, oh, you're not powerful enough to defeat me. And even Nami's plenty powerful now.
Oh yeah, but that's on account of Zeus too.
Yeah, but Zeus ain't going nowhere.
No, he's not. He's not going back to Big Mom or anything like that.
So yeah, I definitely think that. Like, I definitely think the Straw Hats versus the Blackbeard Pirates is going to happen. It's just not going to happen in the way that I assumed it was going to happen before.
Yeah, like, the way I assumed it before was, like, they were going to be, like, the final villains, but I'm starting to think that's not the case anymore. Like, I feel like we may even get it sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Like, it almost feels like we're just slowly creeping up to, like, the actual showdown between the Yonko. And I feel like that's definitely going to happen, and I just don't know, like, how it would even pan out. Like, I know I'm, like, sidetracking a little bit by talking about the Yonko, but, like...
This is the Yonko arc.
Yeah, I know, it's the final saga, Yonko arc, and like, Blackbeard is just becoming way more of a problem. Like, we already knew he was a problem, but, like, he's something else. He's actually, like, terrifying.
Yeah.
Because up until now, like, we don't really know, like, how Blackbeard can be defeated. So, I don't know, because he can tank attacks. And we've seen him like take like a lot of damage in every one of his fights, and he gets back up. So, I don't know. His durability is definitely up there.
Yeah. So my next question would be like, amongst let's not even call it. Let's call it the race for the One Piece. Not no, because
Right.
that leaves people out. But like towards the end game of the series, who do you think are the
Yeah.
players that are still involved in the series that you could see like make a comeback in some way? And who do you think are like the players that like you think are done? Like Big Mom, Kaido, you think those are like done, or do you think Big Mom's coming back? Do you think that like a character like Katakuri, because even in something like Film Red, right, we see Katakuri's like, oh, I'll do anything to protect my family, and putting his cot.
Yeah.
So isn't that some like, wouldn't that be an argument to say that Katakuri could make a comeback in the series? Like, which characters do you think would make a comeback, and which characters do you think are kind of like done now for now?
I like I feel like people are gonna make the argument that Kid is like 100% done. I don't think he's 100% done. I just think he's just down,
Yeah.
and he's like he's gonna be down for a while. But I feel like Kid. I don't know. There's something about Oda's writing with Kid that I feel like he's saving Kid for something. But every time that we tread towards that like idea, Kid gets like embarrassed basically. And I don't know if that's just intentional disrespect on Kid's character by Oda, but I feel like Oda is saving Kid for something. I just don't know yet. And in regards to like Big Mom and Kaido, I don't know. I feel like we are gonna get more information about them when we learn more about God Valley and Rocks. But I don't know. Like, didn't they confirm it in the anime that like Big Mom was like dead, or was that just like didn't happen? Because I heard people say that in the anime, like that Big Mom was dead. Oda didn't really
I
confirm
don't know,
that.
to be honest. I don't know until I get something like that I feel is concrete. I feel like it's still up in the air, because the thing that always stands out to me is that Big Mom says, you know, like, you think that this will do it for me, and that's her like last thought. You think that this will like defeat me, but like it won't. I'm gonna come back for you. And the other thing about Big Mom is, I felt this way since Whole Cake Island, since Fishman Island, but Luffy and Big Mom never had their confrontation. Like,
They never did.
doesn't feel resolved. The beef between them doesn't feel resolved to me. So without Big
Yeah.
Mom coming back and like actually fighting Luffy, that I don't think that I can accept what I've seen. Especially considering
Yeah.
it seems like, you know, the reason why she said Big Mom said, you know, you think won't defeat me, is because I feel like she'd have to come back to actually fight Luffy, and Luffy will be the one to defeat her, like Luffy said he would. So,
Yeah, exactly. Because Luffy did say like I'm going to take down every one of the four Yonko,
yeah.
and like we still have Elbaf to go to as well. So I feel like Big Mom definitely needs to make an appearance in Elbaf, obviously,
Yeah.
and we learn more about her character, and maybe they'll bring things full circle with her before
Yeah.
like she's completely done.
Yeah, and even when you compare Big Mom's like backstory to like Kaido's backstory, Big Mom had way more, I think, effort put into like getting to know her, and we don't even get the full details yet of Big
No, we
Mom's
don't.
life. We're still waiting for the God Valley incident to like kind of open us up and let us know exactly what happened. So I still think there's a lot left to learn about Big Mom and Big Mom's, and they show us Big Mom using Conqueror's Haki attacks. She doesn't even use Conqueror's Haki attacks against Kid and Law. So I think that's just more saving things for Big Mom for the future.
Yeah, I always wonder that. I'm like, why didn't she not use Conqueror's Hockey coding against them? Like, she obviously can use it.
They showed it to
thought-
us. Like, they went out of their way to show her use it against Page 1. That's why I'm just so
Exactly.
confused.
Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like if she did use it, I feel like Kid and Law would have had a way harder time.
It would have been like, based on what they tell us in the story, it should have been a way easier fight if she was using Conqueror's Haki coding on Kid and Law.
Yeah, for Big Mom.
For Big Mom, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And she already has like the physical strength, the devil fruit. Like her devil fruit is actually pretty what do you call it, versatile.
Yeah.
Like it's not just taking souls out and putting them into into new things. It's just she's actually pretty versatile. She can do basically anything she wants with it.
Yeah.
The thing that I always wondered is like, there's always a debate that like regular Zoans can be awakened like Kaku and Lucci, but someone like Kaido isn't awakened. Big Mom isn't awakened. Because I can see like Big Mom's awakening, for example, being like, she has to like, do the stay or life thing for a devil fruit. But if it was awakened, she can like just grab your soul out by just touching you, or not even, or you know what I mean? Like just being able to just pick it out wherever you are.
Yeah.
So and Kaido, like I could just imagine Kaido's awakening being just monstrous. He was already monstrous as it was, but.
So you don't think the Flaming Dragon Bagua was the awakening?
No, because why would he show his awakening at his final move? Like, and if Kaido was awakened, like I feel like we would have gotten hints of that, like throughout the fight. But it was just going in between hybrid form and spamming blast breath and all that, and just being like the monster that he is. But I feel like the final attack that he used against Luffy was probably like the extent of his devil fruit as it was. If it was awakened, we probably would have seen more of it, or Oda would have been more clear about it. He definitely would have said like, yeah, this is Kaido's awakening, because he's always said like he's always made it a point to be like, yeah, this devil fruit user is awakened. This one is as well. They never did that for Kaido, which is strange. It's strange to me for Big Mom and Kaido, because they've had their devil fruits for decades. And being as powerful as they are, like, how do they not manage to awaken?
Right.
That's just my thing, yeah.
No, I mean, when I first read it, I definitely thought that Flaming Dragon Bagua was his awakening attack. But when I think about it and how they've shown mythical Zoans, their awakening forms, like for Kaku and for Luffy and for, and for Lucci, their awakening forms kind of looked like a hybrid form. Like, it didn't really, like, Flaming Dragon Bagua looked like a full Zoan form, right? It didn't look like his hybrid form. Like, so that's kind of why I was just like, yeah, no, that's probably not his awakening.
Yeah, what chapter was the final attack?
1049?
1049, let me just go to that real quick.
Yeah. Though I did have another question, though. So based on what we've seen from Luffy, the other mythical zone and mythical zone awakenings, couldn't you kind of assume that Yamato's awakened? Based on how it looks?
I mean, maybe based on how it looks, but like, I feel like the whole idea of like the visual telling of it would be kind of inconsistent, just like the hockey Black Lightning is. Because they show like the white clouds for Luffy, they show the white clouds for Lucci and all that, but with Luffy it feels more significant because it's the sun god. But when it's someone like Lucci who just has like his devil fruit, it doesn't feel as like monumentous, I guess. And Yamato, like, yeah, she's powerful too. She has advanced conqueror's hockey and all that, but like I don't know. Like, I don't know how long she's had her devil fruit in.
Well, she's had her devil fruit since she was a kid.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And the other thing that I was thinking about the other day is even Lucci, right? He only had his devil fruit since before the time skip. He got his devil fruit in in Water 7. After
what?
Yeah, he only got his devil fruit in Water 7. Remember, Spandam gave them devil fruits.
Yeah, no, I think you said Lucci instead of Kaku.
I said Lucci.
Yeah, no, Kaku got his devil fruit with what's her name?
And Lucci.
But I thought Lucci always had it, like even before.
No, the three of them were on their mission, and as a reward for completing their mission, they each received devil fruits.
Okay, yeah, I'm just confused on the timeline, because it just looked like obviously Kaku and Khalifa, like, they were brand new to the devil fruits, but Lucci looked like he already had more experience with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's just why I thought he had his devil fruit longer.
But I'm pretty sure. Hold on. I'm pretty sure that the three of them all received devil fruits. He got the lion, or the leopard, and then he got the giraffe, and then they got the thing. Hold on. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm like reading up on the.
Oh no! I guess it was only Kaku and Khalifa. I thought all three of them did.
No, I remember it was just those two.
I wonder when he got his. But then, either way, with Kaku, he only had his devil fruit for 2 years.
Yeah.
And he still was able to awaken his quicker than people who've had their devil fruit for, like, Kaido, who had his devil fruit for like 40 years almost.
Yeah, which is confusing, right?
Yeah.
It's like, how does that work? Because you have to like physically work towards your awakening.
I don't think that's how. I was always under the impression that in order to awaken a devil fruit, you have to understand. You have to kind of be in line with the devil fruit itself and your personality.
Yeah, that's what Kaido said.
Yeah.
He said devil fruit awakening is when your mind and your body catches up to your powers.
Yeah, so as long as like your kind of nature, and if your nature is in line with your devil fruit, it would be quicker to awaken it versus if you and your devil fruit were like at odds.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that makes more sense.
So that's kind of like, I guess, what they're saying about Kaku, but that is still weird, right? Like, Kaku didn't have the devil fruit for very long, and he was able to awaken it before so many other characters. So I kind of hope that something like that gets kind of explained as to how him and Rob Lucci were able to awaken so easily. Yeah,
that's why, like, it's inconsistent. Because again, like, who, like...
All right, I'm back. David?
Yeah.
All right, perfect.
Yo.
Yeah. So
anyway, back. What was the last question you asked me?
We were talking about devil fruits, and we were talking about awakening. Hello, can you hear me? You can't hear me. Hold on.
Hello.
You can't hear me.
Can you hear me, Mike?
I can hear you, but hold on.
Hello.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Hey, yeah, I can hear you.
All right, yeah. We were talking about devil fruit awakenings. We were talking about devil fruit awakenings and Yamato, but anyway, we were supposed to be talking about just kind of like the Egghead arc in general, and you did mention something that I kind of wanted to talk about.
What's that?
It had to do with It had to do with the Legend of Nika, and I was piecing this together. I saw a video earlier today that was basically saying, well, my question is this: what do you think Kuma's role it was and is in the series going forward?
Oh man, dude, like,
because I saw something today I pieced something together that I was just like, yo, that makes so much sense.
What was it you pieced together?
So basically, what we saw from so starting with Jinbei versus Who's Who, right? Who's Who tells Jinbei, oh, like, when I was imprisoned, and then they taught me about, like, the sun god Nika or whatever, and I prayed to him, right? And then when you think about a character like Kuma, who we see all these, like, Bible allegories with, right? Showing him holding this book and showing him as being like a kind of like a believer. He believes in like Vegapunk, that type of thing. And then Vegapunk tells us about Nika, right? So the video was basically trying to say that the whole time Kuma was a slave to the celestial dragons, he believed in the sun god Nika. And it wasn't until he met Luffy that he decided, okay, I'm ready to put my plan to action, turn myself into this like robot, basically. At this point, I'm ready to like do all this to save Luffy, right? So like basically the idea is that Kuma was also somebody who believed in the sun god Nika, that he would return. And until he met Luffy, he was like, at that point after he met Luffy, he was ready to like give up his life to make sure that Luffy was able to basically transform, because he was like one of the very first people to actually see the Sun God Nika in Luffy, Joy Boy.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Well, my thing is, is the Sword Bay Kingdom part of the original 20 or no?
I don't think so.
Okay, because like I feel like that would have made a bit that would have made things like a little more interesting. But in terms of Kuma's like beliefs and what his role is in the story, no, it's all good. But yeah, I feel like Kuma, like as much as like the mystery around Kuma is so like it's just ever expanding. I feel like his role ultimately is going to be like some kind of sacrificial thing, because the last time we saw him, he's climbing the freaking red line. So, and obviously it's repeated history, because I was just like the ancient robot did the exact same thing. What was it, 200 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and he's doing the exact same thing, and we never knew the purpose of that, because the robot just shut down, ran out of energy. I'm just wondering if Kuma is gonna do the exact same thing and just run out of energy, like by the time he gets there. But it looks like Kuma was programmed to do this, and he's programmed to do something that we're not aware of yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you think? What do you think Kuma is climbing the red line for?
I'm not sure. I think Kuma. What the video also said was that basically Vegapunk would use Kuma's stored memories as a way to transfer everything to through like his punk records connected to the world, to let the world see kind of the atrocities that the Celestial Dragons commit.
Yeah.
So that had me thinking that maybe what if Kuma goes to see somebody sitting on the empty throne? What if Kuma goes to do something like that? But it's confusing for me, because they went all the way there to save Kuma, and then like frame one of Kuma being saved, he immediately runs away. So like,
Yeah.
it makes me wonder what the point of it all was. And if Kuma was even able to, like, I guess, reveal information before he ran away, or if he just ran away immediately. That they're not really clear with what exactly happened there. But I do think that Kuma. I hope that Kuma doesn't end up dying. I think that it's possible that whatever happens with Kuma, that he's able to at least get something done beforehand. I just hope that he doesn't die. I feel like that'd be tragic. Already tragic.
It's already tragic.
I hope that he doesn't die before at least saying something to Bonnie or seeing her one more time. That wouldn't be. I feel like that wouldn't be a good story, a good ending for me, because Bonnie's just so looking for him so much, right? She wants to see him and not like the robot version of him. So I don't know.
Yeah, I also think that I don't think Kuma's gonna die, because they need to explain like what his race actually is,
Mm-hmm.
and if that race stems back all the way to the Void Century,
Mm-hmm.
because then it would raise the question of, oh, like, why wasn't Kuma's race part of the original 20, or like were they segregated, were they prejudiced against by the world government, because like I don't know, like what about Kuma like screams like different race to you, other than like his insane strength? Because that was the reason why he was like picked on as a child, was because he was this young kid, but he had like barbaric strength. Like,
I think it kind of like his build. He's always seemed like a kind of like a larger character.
yeah,
Like especially as a kid, he seemed to be pretty big, and even like as an adult, he seems to be pretty huge. So that's kind of the thing. He kind of had like a bigger upper body and like a tiny lower body. So it could be something like that. But I do think that what from what we're seeing with Kuma, that especially with his backstory being that he was like a slave in Celestial Dragon, I think that he was potentially a slave on God Valley, I think that these things are all being kind of set up right now, like the former king of God Valley, Garling being shown, and Kuma climbing this red line. Maybe Kuma is going to attack Garling. It could be specifically going for him because they have a history. So I think that the pieces that we are seeing now all kind of relate to Kuma specifically.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That just got me like thinking like
I definitely think Garling, I'm under the impression that God Valley and Kuma being a slave are connected.
yeah, definitely. Because Kuma is 47 years old right now, so he would have been
Like 9.
8 or 9 during the events of God Valley. So it would make sense. My God, that would put like
That's how he looked when he was like in that slave memory that Bonnie saw. He looked about 8 or 9.
Yeah, fuck man, it's all connecting. But also like just to sidetrack a little bit with Garling, what did the officials say about his title of God Valley? Because that was like debated on that he was like the king, the champion, the ruler. Like I think the officials said champion.
Let me see.
Like
that was 1086. It says, the Supreme Commander of the Holy Knights. Wait, no. The man who passed the sentence was a dominating figure who once distinguished himself at a place called God Valley. Today he is the Supreme Commander of the Holy Knights. His name is Figurlin Garling.
Yeah. Does that say that in the chapter in the wiki?
That's what it says in the chapter specifically.
Oh, okay.
It says,
yeah. I just feel like even like Garling's appearance just shook things up, given like what we learned about Shanks and Film Red.
Yeah.
Like yeah, it says here that he was formerly active as a champion on God Valley. So either like I can see him being the king, but like the world government made it a thing to like destroy and remove God Valley. So if he was the king, I don't think that would be someone that they'd want to keep around.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't really it wasn't really. I don't know, because maybe, like, okay, so in what situation, in what circumstance would they keep somebody from God Valley? Because, like, if he was the king, if they keep him because he's a celestial dragon, then it doesn't really matter what role he had on God Valley, right? But it said, like, in the official, it said that he was a dominating figure, so maybe he fought somebody. Maybe. I don't know. But it doesn't seem like, the one thing that stands out is it doesn't seem like he's scarred. He doesn't have any scars on his face or on his body that we see. So it's not like he fought Roger or fought Rox. So
or anything like that, yeah.
That's why I get confused about why people say like, oh, like Garling could be stronger than Mihawk, stronger than this character, stronger than that character. Because like to me, it doesn't seem like he can be that strong because he was never mentioned to have done anything remotely like intense on God Valley, even though he was there, right? What? So like that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and also like since he's older now, like we have to assume that he's not as strong as he was when he was younger. Like they proved that with Gark.
Mm-hmm.
Like yeah, he could still be a monster, but he's old.
Mm-hmm.
Like the parts don't move like they used to.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm sure Garling's the exact same way.
Yeah, I'm interested in what they're gonna do with Garling, because like, is he gonna be somebody who's a combatant, or is he mostly gonna be like kind of a commander, someone who can speak actions? Like I don't know. I'm not sure what they're supposed to do with him, but he doesn't to me, he doesn't feel as threatening, and maybe he should, but
yeah,
he doesn't feel super threatening to me.
He probably should, because even Dragon's concerned about them. Even Dragon's concerned about the Holy Knights.
He's concerned about the Holy Knights, but is he concerned about Garling? Because we've spoken about this before, but I do believe that the person who showed up in front of the Gorosei wasn't Shanks.
Yeah, it wasn't Shanks.
Yeah, I believe that wasn't Shanks. And even when Dragon was talking about the Holy Knights, none of those guys look like Garling. None of those shadows look like
Yeah.
Garling. One of the people look like Shanks. So like all I'm saying is I feel like the Holy Knights are them and Garling commands them, but he's not necessarily as powerful as them. He just might be the oldest and therefore the leader.
Yeah. So by saying that, do you think that Garling was like someone to be reckoned with, like back in the day?
I feel like he was probably powerful back in the day, but he wasn't powerful enough for Roger. He wasn't powerful enough to fight Rox. That's what I assume. You know what? That's my assumption. I feel like Rox went to God Valley and defeated Garling, right. And then Garp and Roger showed up to defeat Rox because, yeah, and that's probably part of why Garling says what he said about like, oh, people who protect scum are worse.
Yeah,
because like they were protected by like Garp and Roger, and he probably has resentment for that he had to have a pirate's help to survive, basically, because he wasn't strong enough himself.
Yeah, he definitely gives off the vibe that he's like a resentful person. Mm-hmm. Honestly, just given like his one piece of dialogue.
Mm-hmm. A hater.
He is a hater, man.
Yeah.
He's the exact opposite of Shanks.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to come into play too. Like clearly he's got some kind of relation with Shanks, but they have two completely separate ideologies. Like Shanks is all for his friends and protecting his friends and all that. Like obviously the whole Shanks is evil thing can be thrown out the window because that's clearly not the case.
Yeah, I never thought. I thought that was like one of the silliest arguments I heard. Like Shanks is evil. I hated that so much. I hated it so much.
Yeah, like Oda wouldn't spend 25 years developing this guy to be friendly to his friends, powerful enough to defeat enemies who threaten everybody that he cares about. Like he wouldn't waste all that time setting up those personality traits with Shanks just to flip the switch and say he's evil. Like that just would have made zero sense.
Yeah, and I just thought it's just silly to like the idea that Shanks is grooming Luffy to be so that he could like what? Like I don't know what he would be even grooming Luffy to do. Like why would he try to make Luffy a good guy just so he could turn around and be like, I'm a bad guy? Yeah,
it just doesn't make sense. I just think he wanted Luffy to be a worthy adversary for the One Piece.
Mm-hmm. I like the theory that Shanks knows that whoever ate the Gomu Gomu no Mi would be the person who would be able to claim the One Piece, and he just wanted to kind of inspire people to do that. And once he saw Luffy, he was like, okay, once you're ready, then I'm gonna be like kind of similar to Kaido, how Kaido was like waiting for Joy Boy. Shanks was also kind of waiting for Joy Boy as well.
Yeah, because I feel like Shanks is going to be Luffy's ultimate challenge.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Shanks is going to die before he faces off against Luffy. But I also don't think that, like, I don't know, the timeline of how I think things are going to go now is kind of warped. Like, obviously, Shanks and Blackbeard need to meet again. They need to have a showdown of some sort, but Shanks can't die because he is the ultimate goal, like the ultimate stepping stone for Luffy.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Like I used to think that like Shanks is gonna die before he meets Luffy by Blackbeard, but I don't think that's gonna happen now. There's too much build up for that to happen.
Yeah, it's weird to try and guess the order and things are gonna happen because I think that there has to be a Shanks and Buggy confrontation. There has to be a Shanks and Blackbeard confrontation, and there has to be a Shanks and Luffy confrontation. There has to be a Luffy and Buggy confrontation. There has to be a Luffy and Blackbeard confrontation, and there has to be a Luffy and Shanks confrontation. Right? The only characters who I feel out of the four Yonko who don't actually have to meet each other are Buggy and Blackbeard.
Yeah, but they're all gonna have like some kind of comical interaction when they all meet.
It could be a thing where the last fight is a 4-way battle royale by all four of the Yonko crews going against each other.
Oh man.
With I don't even know if we count the Marines. Oh, that was my question that I was asking you beforehand. It was which characters would be involved in the end, like the end game of the arc.
Oh, right.
Because
Right.
the thing that I was thinking is that I feel like, especially with what happened with Katakuri, especially like I said in Film Red, we see that Katakuri will go out of his way to save his family, and Pudding is been stolen. I feel like Katakuri will go and try to save her, and I feel like since Oda went out of his way to get rid of Kid's crew and get rid of Law's crew, that these are characters now who are basically pirates without a crew. So where would they end up? Is it possible that these people could in some way, I don't want to say make a cruise himself, but join somebody? I feel like the characters are still important. Like you were saying before with Kid, I feel like Kid is still important, but how he'll be introduced back into the story, I have no idea, and what he'll do, I have no idea.
I feel like going back to characters I think are gonna come back. I feel like Sengoku is gonna have some kind of importance going into the story because he's connected to Law, he's connected to Garp, he's connected to even the God Valley thing. Mm-hmm. I have to assume that Sengoku was there at God Valley as well, fighting with Garp. Even the rest of the Marines, we have to see Smoker. Where's my boy Smoker at? The guy's incognito. Mm-hmm. And he's just not doing shit. The whole I'm sidetracking again, but people were saying oh, is Kobe stronger than Smoker now because of Honesty Impact? And honestly, probably yeah, because when it comes to that feat, that was more of no pun intended, more of an impact than anything we've seen from Smoker.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. I still feel like Smoker is going to come back though because he is a fan favorite Marine, and he is semi important to the trajectory of Luffy. He was there from the start.
Yeah.
He was basically the first Marine that really went after him. That still has significance to the story. So, I do feel like Katakuri is going to come back as well, but I don't know, to what extent his importance is going to be. I feel like his importance doesn't really extend past being that training block for Luffy to learn Future Sight. Mm-hmm. But I can see them being allies if they end up meeting again, because they do have that respect for each other.
Well, my idea for Katakuri specifically was that him and Luffy have a similar goal now. Blackbeard has Garp, and Blackbeard has Pudding. So it's they're working for the same kind of thing, right? They want to go save their family.
Yeah.
So go.
Sorry. And another thing too, if Blackbeard does make an appearance on Egghead, he's more than likely going to have Pudding with him. So, would by some crazy chance Pudding go into the memory room of Kuma's memories and maybe Blackbeard destroys it? I don't know. I'm kind of reaching on why Blackbeard would do that, but he does have Pudding with him.
I don't think so. I don't think he does because actually I'm not sure because it was a little confusing because you see Aokiji and Van Auger, right? They captured Pudding, but then Aokiji was on Egghead. But when we saw Pudding last, it seemed like she was on Blackbeard's ship. So unless Blackbeard took her with him, mm-hmm. instead of bringing her back with Aokiji to Egghead and locking her up.
To Egghead or Hachinosu?
Sorry, not Egghead, Hachinosu.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because Aokiji captured her, right?
Yeah, but I'm just trying to think if she was locked up at Hachinosu is a freaking battlefield right now.
Yeah.
And that would put Pudding's life in danger, and Blackbeard needs her.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of leaning towards Pudding being with Blackbeard at this moment.
That she was there for the fight against Law then.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, she was because she was in the same chapter.
Yeah, she was in the
Or,
same chapter, and I was confused by why we were looking at her because that came out of nowhere.
oh, we saw her because she basically confirmed that Big Mom isn't dead.
Yeah, that's what she said. She said like, "Oh, you'll be sorry for because Big Mom's gonna come back, right?"
Oh
Ki-
yeah,
So like, yeah, so that was just confusing because it didn't really like there wasn't any lead up to it. It just kind of showed it. So like, I don't know, but yeah, I think that it's possible. I don't think she's on Hachinosu. She's
no,
definitely the last time we saw her, she was on a ship in like a ship's prison. So
yeah, and yeah, she was definitely there for the Blackbeard law thing because I remember one of the Blackbeard fodder said to her like, oh, like Blackbeard's fighting the guy that killed your mom,
right,
and
right, right,
and
yeah.
and that's when she said, you know, if Big Mom was alive, like you wouldn't be saying this stuff. So,
Oh,
uh,
so she's going. So is your assumption then that it is Blackbeard and Blackbeard and I guess Van Auger and Burgess and Doc Q, that crew
yeah,
is going to Egghead? Is that what your assumption is then?
yeah, that's
Mm.
my thing because I also have to assume that like we haven't really seen the start of this infamous incident yet.
Mm.
We haven't really gone to the like the inciting action and the freaking the conclusion of it. So I have a feeling that like one of my predictions was like Saturn's gonna face off against Luffy, and Luffy's gonna truly see how strong the Gorosei are. Maybe Luffy even takes down Saturn, but that would just make one less like final villain for the end.
Mm.
But I do think they're gonna show off though, and I do think that Zoro is gonna fight Kizaru, or even like Sanji and Zoro fight Kizaru
Mm.
because yeah, like I just feel like that the possibilities are endless for like what's gonna happen. But I was
Yeah.
going back to Pudding though. Like I feel like Blackbeard is gonna use her for more than what we think. He's probably gonna be like, oh, like one of the possibilities is, hey, let's go into Vegapunk's memories because his brain is just an endless like loop of knowledge. Like he can practically learn anything he wants.
Mm.
Like he can like maybe like Vegapunk knows where the fourth poneglyph is, and he's just not telling anyone. Like I'm reaching with like ideas right now, but that's just like where my brain's going right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Like what are you expecting to see happen with the infamous egghead incident?
Huh. I
There's a
think
lot of possibilities.
that what they said is that like I think that whatever happens, Luffy is gonna come out on top. So
Oh
like
yeah,
it's kind of said that like Luffy shocks the world during the incident. So I think that Luffy is either gonna defeat Kizaru
yeah,
or Luffy is gonna defeat uh, Jay Saturn. I do think that Blackbeard. I personally would actually kind of want to see Kizaru versus Blackbeard in like a dark versus light thing. I think that would be kind of cool. Um, and right now it seems like if Blackbeard is headed to the island, right, there's still like the barrier around Egghead that they can't get through, right? They're still locked in, so it's still like
yeah,
the Seraphim versus the Straw Hats, and then it would be Blackbeard versus the Armada that's outside. Which I don't think. I think with like the Quake fruit, Blackbeard can handle a lot of the fodder easily. So
yeah, easily.
yeah, so it's
So
like
like,
yeah, it's in an interesting spot because it's hard for me to think that with what we're seeing so far, because the Blackbeard pirates they were at Egghead, like it wasn't like they were like on their way, they were there, you know. So like
yeah,
it's hard for me to
and
think that they're not gonna like have to fight the Marines first,
mm,
and like you know, so like at least yeah, it's hard. It's difficult for me to say, to be honest. It's just really difficult for me to say.
yeah, and like the thing that like made me interested in like what's going on over there is like the chapter says like the siege barricade incident at the future island egghead by the Emperor Straw Hat Luffy. So like the newspapers are making it out to be like that Luffy is causing all of this, and like obviously that's what Big News said, right?
Mm-hmm.
for his headline that like that Luffy was the cause of or kidnapping Vegapunk or whatever. I can't remember exactly like what he said in the chapter,
Mm-hmm.
but like one of the things that I would like to see is like I feel like they're gonna I don't know it feels the stakes kind of feel lower than what we've seen in the past, even though like the biggest armada in the entire story is outside of Egghead right now. Like they literally
Yeah.
said like there's like 100 battleships or more than that.
Yeah, with 100.
Yeah, and plus like they got Kizaru and Saturn and all that. I don't know. The stakes don't feel as high, but they definitely should be. You know what I mean? Like I feel it feels like a lot can go wrong. It feels like a lot can go right as well.
Yeah.
But I just feel like there's something's definitely going to happen to shake things up.
Yeah, I definitely feel you on the stakes conversation just because like I think it's because they are contained right now. So it's like for the moment at least it doesn't I don't know how they are going to go from where they're at to where Kizaru and Jay Garcia are. Like
Yeah.
until we wrap up what happens with the Seraphim and the barrier coming down, the stakes will always be kind of low because it doesn't really feel like they're in a situation where they'll actually interact with each other, especially with like Blackbeard being on the outside. It just seems like that's their interaction, and then the One Piece and Vegapunk, the Seraphim versus the Straw Hats and I guess CP0 are their own thing. I do think that
Yeah.
it's possible that Lucci still ends up killing Vegapunk. I don't think Vegapunk makes it through the end of the arc. Like I don't think they actually, at least not every form of Vegapunk actually makes it through to the end.
But you think the real one's going to make it though?
No, I think it's actually just gonna be Lilith.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's only Lilith who ends up going with the Straw Hats. She's the most Straw Hat of them all.
Yeah, I can see that. Like she's definitely had the most interactions with them.
Yeah, probably Lilith and the big one. I forget her name.
Alice.
Atlas. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think that they'll make it. I think that for the most part, if it's not Lilith, then none of them are gonna go, and that'll be like the kind of the Vegapunk incident. Like they're gonna try to pin the death of Vegapunk on Luffy.
Yeah. Cuz yeah, that's what they want. They want to put as much on Luffy as possible so that they can kind of detract away from the Sun God thing.
But one thing that was interesting about Vegapunk's death is like they mention that who is it, Shaka? He contacts Dragon and tells him that I think I'm gonna die today, and do you think that could kind of spur Dragon into action, or like what would be the point of contacting Dragon to say that, unless Dragon was gonna do something about it?
I don't know because I don't know where Kamabakta Kingdom is in comparison to Egghead.
Yeah,
Because where we see Dragon now is with Sabo, who's recounting what happened at the Reverie.
yeah,
So I don't know if Dragon would spring into action that quickly, especially without like a plan. Because
yeah,
Dragon's very calculated. He's
yeah.
not like Luffy or Garp who just jumped into things.
So what would be the
So
point of even telling Dragon then? If he's just like, are you just like telling Dragon, "Oh, I'm gonna die," but like I don't know. It doesn't really feel necessary to tell him that unless there's like some type of thing that Dragon is gonna do because of that
maybe
information.
well maybe since they have like a good relationship with each other, that maybe that's Shaka's way of saying like I'm gonna die today, but at least one of the Vegapunks are gonna make it out of here, type of thing. Because he wasn't lying. Shaka was shot in the head and he died. So he warned Dragon, but maybe that was like a way to tell Dragon like something's going down on Egghead today, and we have to make sure at least one of the Vegapunks get out of here. So maybe that's why like I'm on the opinion that the real Vegapunk is gonna get out of here because Luffy said to him, "I'm gonna get you out of here," and And I feel like when Luffy says stuff like that, he usually sticks to his word.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the real one survives, and all six of the other Vegapunks die. But I don't know. I feel like that would be like the best case scenario for at least my imagination of how it's going to end up.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to ask you, and this is like going off topic again to the most recent chapter. This is like the biggest debate that I've seen on Twitter and on the internet. Was what Kobe did advance Conqueror's Haki or just advance Rio? What do you think?
I don't think Kobe shows the sign of somebody with Conqueror's Haki. Because the people who have...
Not right now, at least?
Not right now, because the people who have Conqueror's Haki are extremely confident. And what we see in Kobe is a lack of confidence. And like even with him doing the Honesty Impact, the first thought that he had is, did I really do that? So he doesn't really believe in himself. He was only able to muster up that courage because Garth put courage in him. But he needs to have courage in himself. I feel like Kobe could, I don't feel like that attack with Conqueror's Haki, but I feel like in the future, once Kobe is understands his own strength, and this will be like a stepping stone for him to understand his own potential. I feel like in the future he'll do Conqueror's Haki, but I don't think that attack was Conqueror's Haki.
Yeah, so you just think it was just Rio?
Yeah.
Yeah, that just makes more sense because and I've seen the complaints about that was oh, it's like Black Lightning, so it has to be Aokiji, and that's the problem with Oda's writing sometimes, or the way he draws Black Lightning is it's we've seen Ulti use Black Lightning, we've seen freaking Jinbei,
Sanji,
all of them, and none of them have conquerors.
Yeah,
but again, but I also think when we see a conqueror's user use that, the lightning drawings are way bigger. They're way more emphasized.
Mm-hmm. And usually when people use Conqueror's Haki, you see when they're trying to establish that somebody knows Conqueror's Haki, you usually see people passing out.
Yeah, the fodder. Yeah.
Yeah, and there would have been plenty of people who would have passed out. So I don't think it was Conqueror's Haki.
Yeah, it definitely makes more sense that it's Advanced Rio, especially since when we see the actual impact, the lightning strips of Haki weren't as emphasized, whereas Garp's was highly emphasized and clearly showed Conqueror's Haki. So, but I just think people want Kobe to have that power, even though I don't think he's earned it yet, because I feel like Aokiji is something you need to earn.
Mm-hmm.
And even Kaido said it himself, only a handful of people can do it. And if Kobe goes from just, the person that we see in chapter 1 to having the most buffed out power up in the series, that would just be kind of unrealistic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're right. I feel like the way that they're building Kobe and they portrayed him throughout the series, they haven't really think about the other Conqueror's Haki users that we've seen in the story, which are Roger, Shanks, Kaido, Big Mom, Odin, Yamato, Whitebeard, Luffy, Zoro, Doflamingo, Katakuri. Putting I think that Kobe straight up doesn't fit in with those characters.
Yeah, no, at least not now. But Oda's definitely building him up to be the Garp of this generation.
Yeah, I think definitely this is the build for Kobe to be that guy later. Now that we've seen Kobe here, it won't be such if the next time we saw Kobe, if this time we saw Kobe fight, which is our first time really seeing Kobe fight, if he was using Conqueror's Haki, we'd be like, what the hell? But now that we've seen him here, the next time when we see him and he's advanced further, we'd be like, okay, no, definitely Kobe was on that path. We saw it, We could now we see the progression of it.
Yeah, and he's putting in the work too.
Yeah, he put it for sure.
He's putting it day in and day out, doing the battleship bags. I'm not gonna lie, when I saw that in the chapter, I was like, okay, let's go, Kobe. Like you're actually doing what Garp and Aokiji have been doing, and even like just going on to talk about Aokiji a little bit,
Mm.
man, like he's got to be at least like I know Aokiji's in the top 10 for strongest characters, but I feel like man, his Devil Fruit's broken. He's got the physical strength of Garp. Like because we never really see Aokiji use his physical strength. We've always like really truly seen him fight using his ice.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to just straight up physical strength, like he's pretty on par with Garp.
Do you
And
think that Kobe was, or not Kobe? Do you think Aokiji was holding back against Garp?
oh, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
100%. Because he doesn't want to kill him, but he just wants to do enough that Garp slows down.
Yeah, I saw something that was like, and you mentioned this earlier with like Akiji freezing his tears, but I saw
Yeah.
something that was like when Garp was like, "Oh, you all are the future of Marines," that he was also talking about Aokiji,
Yes.
and I thought that that was
Yeah.
like heartbreaking. I thought that the story of Aokiji and Garp was so good.
Yeah, it was so well done, dude. Like I was like, how did they make such a like complex and really like well-rounded story arc in just 2 chapters?
Yeah,
Obviously we knew about how Aokiji was Garp's protege and all that, but the last 2 chapters we've just been diving right in,
yeah,
and like you could just tell that Aokiji is broken up over it because
yeah.
he doesn't want to have to do this.
The part that was interesting for me is that we see basically the part where Garp's talking about, oh, my grandson wants to be a pirate, and like my son
Yeah,
became a pirate, right? So we see all the people that Garp has like interacted with, even including
yeah,
Ace, right? We
yeah,
see what happened, the tragedy of Marineford, and then before that, you know, both the grandsons become pirates, and his son became a
yeah.
pirate, and then now Kiji became a pirate, and then finally we see like Kobe, the
Yeah.
basically the last person that Garp trained, right, or the last couple
Hmm.
people with Helmet Bow and Groose. All these people are now looking up to Garp, but like with Kobe as the leader. Like basically, Kobe's the one that Garp was finally like. Kobe is like Garp's joy boy.
Basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kobe's like Garp's joy boy. You were the one that I was waiting for, you know? And like I think
Hmm.
that part is what makes it beautiful, that like Aokiji kind of ended up being the person that is like the person who was kind of killing Garp's dream, and he was Garp's student.
Yeah. Yeah, and I bet like Garp felt that Aokiji was legitimately the one to make a difference because
Mm-hmm.
like and really the only thing that made that not happen was him losing to Kainu. Like that's the only reason.
Mm-hmm.
Like Aokiji, I mean he wasn't really a pirate before joining Blackbeard. He was kind of just wandering.
Yeah,
He
he was
only
like
he only
sulking.
Yeah, he was like sulking, like God damn it, like it blocked my leg and all this.
Yeah.
But yeah, he didn't really become a pirate until his interaction with Blackbeard. So he was just kind of off doing his own thing. But I think he's got bigger plans.
Mm. So
What
do
they
you
are, I
think
don't
that
know
if
too.
do you think that if yeah, I was gonna ask you about like what you think. So you do think that Aokiji is kind of like not really fully with the Blackbeard Pirates. You think that he's like kind of a double agent to an extent. Like he has his own goals, and he doesn't really want to make Blackbeard the king of the pirates. Or you think that he's in it like 10 toes down. He's in it to make Blackbeard the king of the pirates because Blackbeard will help his dream come true, like a straw hat, basically.
I don't know because I really don't. I feel like Aokiji is a really smart character, and he should know that Blackbeard's probably the worst of them.
Mm,
Uh, and even Blackbeard said, like, a crew is not a merry band of friends. A crew is people who have a similar goal. And I feel like Aokiji is just running with them now just because he wants to finally be free. Like, because he was never really free in the confines of being a Marine
mm.
and being an admiral. So now that he has his freedom, like he even said to Garp, like, I'm making my own decisions. This is the life that I chose, and yada yada. Maybe he was just saying that just because he wanted to like keep up the front in
Mm.
front of the all the other Blackbeard pirates. But his actions obviously are very like complex, and like obviously he's just freezing Garp, and that was probably always the plan
Yeah.
to get Garp as a hostage. But
Yeah.
I know he's not feeling good about it. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think that since they told us that they can't use Kobe as a hostage, like having Garp as a hostage is like the perfect trade basically, because they can actually get what they want, right? They can like
Oh
parlay
yeah,
with the world government over Garp's life. So I think that works out better for the Blackbeard pirates. But one thing that I'm kind of looking forward to, like the end of the Egghead arc, and I feel like this has kind of been setting up since like around 1062, like the Blackbeard versus Law thing, like since they started
yeah,
showing us that the Blackbeard pirates had devil fruits, like, and then even in the last arc when they're talking about the newspapers, last chapter, I mean, Avalo Pizarro's like, the newspapers, they want them to talk about me. Like, I want to see a chapter where the Blackbeard pirates all get like updated bounties, and I want to know what the bounties for all the Blackbeard pirates are, and then Aokiji gets a bounty.
Oh, Alkiji's got to be at least, and
He
he's
has to
got
he
to
has to be
be.
like a 3 billion bounty. He has to have a
Yeah,
huge bounty, like, and
he's got to
that's what I
be.
think would be so, like, I think that'd be such a sick chapter if you get like, because we don't have any outside of Blackbeard, we don't have any information about where the rest of like the pirates stand with their bounties. So I think that'll be such an interesting, like, just the chapter itself, just the Blackbeard pirates bounties, and yeah. I also will say that before like the last chapter, my analysis of Shiryu, I had him way higher than what I currently think he's at. Like, I oversold that character
Yeah,
a
I did as
lot.
well.
Yeah,
I did as well.
I don't know. I just can't see him as like, I right now I don't even see him as like I feel like in a 1v1 fight Zoro would destroy Shiri.
Oh yeah, easily, dude.
I feel like Zoro would destroy him.
Like, it's just not even comparable right now.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I wish that tell me how we saw like a named attack from Vasco shot, but we didn't get to see anything interesting from Shiryu outside of
No,
him
nothing.
sneaking Garp. Like, I just had such higher expectations for him, especially since the way that they built him in Impel Down. And
Yeah.
like after seeing him, my expectations dropped. So like I don't even know. I feel like a lot of the Blackbeard pirates won't have a billion berry bounty.
No, definitely not.
No.
But
Like they're
but
around like the 600,000, 700,000 range.
yeah, and also like even another question, like I was wondering, like, do you think these guys are gonna be just reliant on their devil fruits and not even bother with hockey?
Well, I think with Shiryu we saw hockey on his blade. Um,
Yeah.
with characters like I think that a lot of them will rely on their devil fruits. Like Vasco Shot seems like a devil fruit reliant, but no, I think that most of them. I think that a lot of them will have hockey as well, but it just depends on which ones.
Yeah, I
Lafitte,
think I think
I don't know.
I
Van
think Van
Auger hockey
Auger's,
for sure.
yeah, observation at least.
Yeah, that's one fight I
But
feel like has to happen. Van Auger and Usopp, or even if it's not Van Auger and Usopp, it could be Van Auger and Yasop. That could be like an
oh
actual
yeah,
fight. So like, yeah, I think that has to happen.
I feel like Yasop would destroy him too.
Mm, I don't know. Maybe Van Auger defeats Yasop, and that inspires Usopp to like to fight
Their
Van
revenge,
Auger.
basically.
Yeah, like you killed my father.
Oof, oof. That would be so sad, man. Because
Yeah,
like I need that interaction again between Yasop and Usopp. We
yeah,
had it briefly in Film Red, but it's not canon, so
yeah. I know, and like the interaction was like it was so brief. I like that interaction. I like the way that they interacted in Film Red, where like the red haired pirates showed up to kind of like be the heroes to save the day, but they actually don't even stick around long enough to actually talk to Luffy or anything.
no, but that was never gonna happen.
Yeah, and it shouldn't have happened. That's why I said I like the way that they did it, because it's just like they
Yeah,
know that that's like a big moment, and even like that Usopp Yasop moment was just kind of like a little taste of I feel like what we're gonna get, like just like that that moment where Yasop finally says like, "Wow, like you're so brave," or "You're so this," and Usopp can finally like understand what his strengths are and like believe in himself. And I think that was such a good moment.
That was one of my favorite moments in Film Red, mainly because like even though it's not canon, it actually shows Usopp using observation hockey a level beyond what even Luffy can do. Luffy can't do. We haven't really seen Luffy connect through observation hockey with another observation hockey user. He has the voice of all things, of course, and that's its own separate thing. Like he can talk to Momonosuke and Zunisha and all of them, but we've never really seen two observation users connect and like just kind of communicate through it. So
and I like the way that it was done too, because like even Shanks hypes it up like to Katakuri. It's like, "Oh, you have observation user? Don't worry, we have like a great observation user on our side too." There's just like Yasop. So now we kind of like have this like assumption as to like what Yasop is like. Yasop's role. Like I guess we would assume Yasop is a sniper, but like Yasop and Usopp have a similar role on the ship now.
Yeah,
on their ships.
And like we have to assume that like Yasop can use Future Sight, otherwise he wouldn't be like categorized as this great sniper. Like obviously I have to assume that Usopp's gonna get it as well. Usopp can even probably get the type of observation hockey that Shanks has at a certain point. Like I feel like observation hockey for Usopp is gonna stand at the top at the end of the story. It's gonna stand because like obviously I feel like even his observation hockey is tied with the lies he tells. Because like with all these things that come true, sort of, that could be tied with his observation, because he's lied about Conqueror's hockey twice now. He's lied about having it twice, and I'm still on board with the fact that Usopp's gonna get it, but I just don't know how and what purpose it would serve him to have Conqueror's hockey. Like would that be the moment that he's like, "Oh shit, I have Conquerors. That means I'm a brave warrior now."
I can feel like he can unlock Conquerors and never even understand that he unlocks Conquerors. Like
that's what happened with Zoro.
Yeah, I think that it would be something like that for Usopp. And I think I've said this to you before. At least when it comes to Nami, Zoro, Sanji, Jinbei, and Usopp. Like, outside of Luffy, who we know already has it, and Zoro, who we know already has it. But, like, Jinbei, Nami, Sanji, and Usopp, I feel like all those characters could have Conqueror's hockey.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like if Jinbei had it, because Jinbei's technically already in his prime, so, like, I don't know, we've never really seen someone unlock Conqueror's hockey at his age. It's always unlocked, like, at a young age, from what we've seen so far.
Yeah. Oh, I guess that is kind of true. But Zoro didn't unlock it at a young age.
No, but you know what I mean. Like Luffy unlocked it when he was 17.
Yeah.
And like obviously freaking. What? Yeah, and like Ace unlocked it when he was like 12.
Yamato unlocked it when she was a kid.
Yeah, so I feel like if people have Conquerors, like if Jinbei were to have it, he would have like had to have used it already.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I feel like just the way that Jinbei is presented, like especially with like the Big Mom thing, I thought that was like such an incredible scene of like that shows somebody has like the will of a conqueror. Like Jinbei has so much confidence, you know.
Oh yeah, that was one of my favorite Jinbei scenes, man.
Yeah, that's one of the most goated scenes. Like him slapping down that cup, and you're just like, man, I'm not scared. Like I'm about to join the King of the Pirates crew. I'm not scared of a measly Yonko. Like that's crazy. Man. That's crazy. Like, and from that moment, I was like, yeah, I can see Jinbei being a conqueror.
Yeah, like, and even like I can see it because like I feel like end of story Jinbei is going to be considered the greatest fishman.
Mm-hmm.
Like even surpassing Fisher Tiger. But yeah, I could see him. I could see an argument to be made for Jinbei having conquerors, and Nami, like they already alluded to it when she was like snapping back at Jinbei at the start of Egghead.
Yeah,
he's like, holy shit, you have conquerors? Is that conquerors hockey?
And like just because they have conquerors doesn't mean that they're gonna get like advanced conquerors hockey. Like it could
No,
be like
not
Katakuri, right? They have Conqueror's Haki, but they don't have like they can't apply it.
yeah. Do you think Doflamingo could have ACOG?
It it depends. It depends on
Depends.
what his role is in the story. If he comes back into the story, I assume he's gonna have advanced Conqueror's Haki, yes. But if he doesn't come back into the story, I don't think he would. He does, or he
No,
can't do
but
it. Yeah, but I do
I
think he's
feel
gonna
like
come back.
Doflamingo needs to be. He needs to come back just to be part of Cross Guild. Like that's just fan fiction that needs to happen.
Yeah, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. And
Like it would just be such a collection of like insane personalities.
mhm.
But yeah. I'm probably gonna head out now, Mike, because I gotta head to bed.
Oh
But
yeah, I did have I had
one
one
question
more
left.
thing that I wanted to ask you. I really wanted to ask you about this. But
All right, let's go.
all right. So I've seen online that people kind of talking about uh basically Joy Boy and this not even Joy Boy, sorry, the Sun God Nika, kind of saying that it came out of nowhere, like it was set up really quickly in Wano. We do know that the Sun God Nika is basically Joy Boy. So like,
Yeah.
do you feel like it was kind of added a little bit desperately for from Oda, or do you believe that it was kind of always kind of planned to be that way?
I feel like it was always kind of planned because with when we first found out about Joy Boy it was Fishman Island that we first found out about him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like with his introduction and the promise he made to the fishmen and all that, I feel like it directly ties to to the reason why the poneglyphs were made
Mm-hmm.
and all of that. Like I feel like Joy Boy had the Gomu Gomu no Mi originally, and it's like they explained it. The wills of the devil fruits have like technically have a mind of their own. So it could be a stretch to say that Joy Boy's will is inherited inside the Gomu Gomu, and that's why Luffy was the one that was destined to basically take it. But when it comes to Joy Boy and all that, I feel like there's so much that we don't know yet, and there's so much that we don't. There's so many pieces missing, like especially like with the whole like Nefertari D Lily thing. We have to assume that like she had a connection to Joy Boy, and all of that, and they probably like worked together to make sure that the poneglyphs were made and that their history would be told by these poneglyphs. And I don't know, like I just feel like there's so many missing pieces that we don't really know like where to connect them all. Like what do you think?
Yeah, similar thing. Like my main idea was just like, since it is in Fishman Island that we do start hearing about like Joy Boy, and then also in Fishman Island is when we first kind of well, I guess no, it's not even before Fishman Island when we first learn about the Sun Pirates, right?
Yeah.
In what's it called? Sabaody.
Yeah.
And we learn about them, and then going forward into Impel Down, we learn more about them with Jinbei and stuff. Like I feel like the Sun Pirates is straight up a reference to Joy Boy. Like their whole mission was to free slaves, right? And Joy
Yeah.
Boy was the person who freed slaves. So I feel like the Sun Pirates, their whole mission was like kind of in reference to being like Joy Boy. That's what Fisher
Yeah.
Tiger was going for, which is kind of what I feel like who was alluding to, like saying like, oh, you're part of the Sun Pirates, you guys are slaves, like that can't be a coincidence. Like
Yeah.
you must know something about Nika. So like I feel like even that's why it's possible that Jinbei knows something that Fisher Tiger could have told him about that whole story. And then
Yeah,
yeah.
it's kind of similar to how Odin left out pages out of the journal.
Mhm.
There are pieces of crucial information that's missing that main characters could have known or could not have known. But like going back to your question of like if Oda just kind of just threw it in, I think it was always planned.
Yeah. It's like
Like
I heard
go ahead.
somebody say that like imagine if this was a retcon, it would be like almost being like when what's it called? When Arlong and like what's his name? What's the name of that
Tiger?
octopus guy? The octopus guy, Hachi. Like
Hachi, yeah.
it would be like, was it a retcon to say that Hachi put the tattoo of the sun over his slave tattoo, right? When they did that, was that a retcon, or was that just the plan all along? You know, like I feel like it's easy to say that was it, or I feel like it's more fair to say that it was the plan all along to reveal that the Nika thing. It just kind of came. We knew it as Joy Boy, but Joy Boy and the sun god Nika are the same thing. So like you feel like Nika is new. Like everyone feels like it's a retcon because they call him a god now, but Joy Boy was always a god. You know?
Yeah, and also like I feel like this question also has a deep connection to Lunarians because like would it be a stretch to say that Joy Boy was a Lunarian, the original?
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so. No. I mean, like, I don't think it would be a stretch. I think that it's possible because, like, the Lunarians have this fire-based attack, and I've always been wondering why it is that Luffy could just like do these fire attacks. You know, like I feel like at one point there might even be like, I know that people say Gear 5th is the peak, but I feel like there could be a Gear 5th form where we see like a fire going at from Luffy's back, you know, and Luffy has like something like that. Like I feel like this isn't it. Like it can go deeper, so I wouldn't be surprised if
you think Luffy, you think Luffy's gonna unlock Lunarian fire?
I wouldn't be. I'm not saying like he will, but I wouldn't be surprised if he does. Like I think that
there's like a form of Gear 5, yeah.
Yeah, there's like there are more forms to Gear 5 than just this.
Yeah. Did you see the trailer for Gear 5?
Yeah, I did, and I'm pretty excited. I saw Kaido's eyes pop out, like because we have the trailer, but there's also like the tidbit of the episode coming out this week, and like, yeah, no, it's from exciting stuff. I'm really excited for this weekend, and I'm like, I don't know what day it is. I don't know if it comes out Saturday night or Sunday morning.
Yeah, I was saying, like, I'm coming down to Brampton if you guys want to get together and watch the episode.
Yeah, no, for sure. I definitely do.
Such a good time.
I definitely do. I think I might have to watch it. We might have to watch it back to back. We have to watch it twice because, like, maybe watch it one time with no stops and like a second time with like kind of analyzing it because like I'm. Did you watch the episode from last week?
No, I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, you need to watch like the last 5 minutes of that episode. You hear the drums of liberation.
Oh God. Oh man.
Dude.
How they sound?
Yo, they sound so sick. They sound so sick. Like, yeah, I thought it was gonna be like a remix of like those drums that you hear like in the OST, and they made it sound like it sounds like an ancient beat. Like it sounds so like cult. It sounds so, what's the word? Like cultural. Like it sounds so crisp. Like it just the sound of it is very hype. If you could just look up the OST for the Drums of Liberation from the last episode, you're gonna like go crazy because it sounded so good. Man. It sounded so good. I'm gonna have to watch it, man. Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. Watch it tomorrow.
I'm gonna have to. But yeah, no, this was a fucking fantastic talk. Honestly, like we can talk about shit like this for hours. But, like,
yeah, dude. And I still had like, we just kept going off on different like rants, but I actually still had so many questions. I wanted to talk about Dragon. I want to talk about Dragon, and I guess next time I'll just save the questions that I didn't answer. But I want to talk about Dragon and kind of what we expect going forward, like after this arc, because like I want to talk about Cross Guild. We didn't even talk about them at all. We talked about every other Yonko except for Buggy.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
that tends to happen.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, like that's what I mean. Like when you talk about One Piece, you just go off, off on like separate rants and rambles, and you just get lost in it.
Yeah, because like the thing about One Piece is everything is connected, right? So like when you see one thing happen here, it's just like, okay, so if this happens like that, how does this affect these characters over here, because they're intertwined in a certain way, right?
Yeah.
Especially talking about Vegapunk, and Vegapunk is connected to Dragon, you know, Vegapunk connected to Kuma, and so like, you know, all
That's
these
what I mean.
things.
Like we're at a point now in this final saga that like wherever we go, like wherever location we go to is gonna be interesting
Mm-hmm.
because all of the pieces have been building towards this final saga, and everything is just 10 out of 10 like so far. It's just crazy.
That's why I'm just confused about Garland, because like this is a character that didn't need the Holy Knights in general didn't even need to be a thing, because there are already so many characters that we're looking out for, so many combatants. I thought that the Seraphim were gonna be like, you know, Emu's warriors, but Emu has like a second set of warriors in
Yeah, the world government needed that beef up, I think.
the Holy Knights for real.
Yeah, I think the Seraphim, the Navy, the Holy Knights. It just makes the world because for a while there, to me, it just seemed like the world government didn't seem as formidable.
Mm.
But now that we've seen what Emu can do, we know what the Gorosei can do. Now we have the Holy Knights. Like the world government are terrifying right now,
Yeah.
and they probably have ancient weapons. Like I don't know,
Yeah.
man. Like it's crazy to think that the world government is becoming this much of a force and becoming more scarier than they were. And I'm excited to see it because they needed that beef up, I think.
Yeah. Okay, I'll ask you one last thing. It's a quick question. It won't even take you 2 minutes to answer this. Well, not even 1 minute. Do you think Oda forgot about Eroge?
Probably because like if you bring him back now, what the hell is he gonna do?
I don't know. Is he just forgotten? I guess
Like,
he just forgotten.
Like yeah, he's just forgotten, but like he's literally the one supernova that we have not seen at all in this like freaking post time skip. We've seen him like a few times, but that was it. He had like no impact at all.
I'm actually under the opposite impression. I feel like Eroge is a sun god believer. I feel like he has some type of relationship to Joy Boy, to at least the sun god. Like he probably is a believer in the sun god, and he's gonna. I think that now that Joy Boy is back, he'll probably make a return at some point.
I hope so because that would just bring everything full circle with the supernova. So
Yeah, I feel like I just want to see him just so that we could say all the supernovas did something. Even though I feel like Hawkins is the worst supernova out of all of them so far. Oh my
god, it's like bottom of the barrel.
Bottom of the barrel. Hawkins is last, and then second last is Drake.
Really, you have Apu over Drake?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I have Apu 1 over Drake. Apu is just above him, and that's because Apu didn't get bodied like Drake did and then disappear off screen.
True. Because didn't Drake get bodied by that that Cypher Pole agent?
Yeah, but I don't know if he died. I don't know if he's dead or if he's just not around. Because he was there when Hawkins died, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know what the deal is with them. Maybe he's dead too, but I'm not sure.
I feel like Oru is probably just forgotten, but I don't know. I don't have really high expectations for him.
Yeah.
He's 47 years old.
What? I had no idea.
He's 47. He's like one of the older. He's older supernova.
Than Blackbeard.
Yeah, he's older. Is he the oldest supernova? Damn.
Yeah. Wait, how old is Beige? Probably 33.
Beige is 42.
Oh, he's pretty old too.
Yeah, and Teach is 40. So he's younger than Beige too.
I didn't know he was 47. Yeah.
Yeah, he's fucking old, man. But all right, Mike, I'm gonna take off though.
Yeah, man. Thanks for doing this with me. And next time there's a break, I'll catch you at the same time.
You got it. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, man. Have a good night.
See ya.